This is a $400 watch strap. And the reason for that isn't because of some marketing hype or luxury brand markup. It's 100% down to the craftsmanship and the fact that it's bespoke. And by bespoke, I don't mean just choosing the leather or color of thread. I mean actually deciding how it's made in a very personal way. We'll get to that soon. Now, about the brand Atelier Yang. It's a Singaporean brand started by Atelier Yang in 2018, and how that all started was during Alice's national service, basically conscription for all you non-Singaporean folk. Upon receiving the standard issue army duffel bag, he wondered if he could remake it in leather. That curiosity led him down the rabbit hole of leather crafting and eventually into making watch straps, which, full transparency, he made this for me. So without saying anything more, the strap comes in a little pouch, and for this build, I went with a Himalayan crocodile leather sourced from Heng Long. They are a Singaporean tannery owned by LVMH that supplies exotic skins to luxury houses worldwide. Yes, you heard that right. LVMH owns a tannery in Singapore. Now, the Himalayan croc leather, named for its resemblance to the snowy Himalayan peaks, is best known for its appearance in the highly coveted Himalayan Birkin bag. But if exotics aren't your thing, there are plenty of other skins, all also from reputable tanneries, to choose from. And if you're wondering, this is a vintage Omega Genève. It's an heirloom from my late grandfather, and you can see it has its fair share of scratches and oxidation from years of wear. That's it. I think the patinated dowel complements the irregular texture of the strap. Also not sure if it was intentional, but the strap is cut in a way that the scales bend where my wrist curves, which makes for a more natural fit. On the underside, the strap features a Vat Assavel lining from Haas, a French tannery owned by Chanel. It's hypoallergenic and, according to Alice, even more durable than typical Zermatt leathers you'll find on premium straps. Honestly, in hot and humid weather, not wearing a watch will always keep you cooler than wearing one, but I'll say, at least this lining doesn't leave my wrist clammy for long. Because the watch has integrated lugs, it's impossible to find an off-the-shelf strap, and many custom makers won't even attempt making this style of strap. Well, Alice did, and the result is nothing short of fantastic. You can see the strap lies perfectly flushed. Not only that, the skiving around the lugs is super clean, so much so it looks and feels as though the lining and leather are one and the same piece. Compare that to this strap from another maker, where you can clearly tell the lining and leather are two separate pieces. Small detail, but it speaks volumes about the maker. Moving on to the stitches, the strap features 10 SPI, all saddle stitch using a wax linen thread. The saddle stitch, as far as I know, can only be done by hand and is the strongest way to sew two pieces of leather together. In the very unlikely event that one stitch breaks, the rest won't unravel. Also, why you don't often see integrated straps made of leather is because it's not a robust construction. The leather is folded and tucked under the lining and is only secured by glue. With all the daily tugging, it'll eventually separate. So to prevent that, I had Alice sew an extra seam along the lugs for added durability. Then there's the edge painting, which according to Alice is the hardest part about making the strap. Sounds like an easy step, but it needs to be evenly coated. It's the kind of detail you won't notice when done well, but becomes jarringly obvious when not. And at this part where the fixed keeper loop is attached, most makers would typically first split the leather, then paint the edges. Alice goes one step further. He first paints the edges, then splits the leather, then paints the edges again. All that for a more lasting finish. This attention to detail is similarly applied during the heat creasing, which forms these lines you see along the strap, as well as on the lining and on the keeper loop. You need steady hands for this step, and when done flawlessly, the result is a sharper, more well-defined crease. Don't think it has any functional purpose, but along with the slanted stitches, helps to frame the strap and adds another dimension of beauty to it. Because of my bony wrist, I had the buckle side of the strap lengthened, and hence the buckle to be ever so slightly off-centered, so that whenever I rest my arms on my desk, the buckle won't press against my wrist. And on the other strap, I shortened it to minimize bulk. Other aspects I customized was having a slight taper and going without any padding for a slimmer look. I also specified the position of the loops because on ready-to-wear straps, I absolutely hated shifting around throughout the day. So I had the outer loop be fixed in place and the inner loop to be movable. And finally, for a cleaner look, I had Alice only punch 2 holes, one for hot days for when my wrist expands, and one for less hot days. Ideally, this level of fine-tuning is best done when you're collecting the strap. So why does this strap cost $400? Well, it's the quality of materials. The on average 6 hours of handcraft. The obsessive finishing, and crucially, the personal fit and comfort you simply can't get from a factory-made strap. Above all, pairing something as sentimental as my grandfather's watch with a strap made just for it, that's priceless. So if you are interested in having one made like this, you can reach out to Alice on Instagram, tell him I sent you, or if you're in Singapore, go check out the straps at Mason & Smith. Okay, until next time, stay subtle.